Purdue 76, USC 71. Weird game, good result. Weird game that leaves me with a lot of questions on what exactly Purdue's plan is this week. Maybe that's harsh of me. Maybe I should just focus on the fact that they got a win and now they get a sleepwalking dead Michigan team in the quarterfinals. And I don't know, a path to a Big Ten title run is still very much here for the Boilers, but they're going to need to play better than they did tonight, Card. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, outside of TKR, who I thought was incredible in this basketball game, he had 30 points, 7 rebounds. He was basically unstoppable down low against a USC front court that's extremely thin and not necessarily the biggest. So, very perfect matchup for TKR, and he took full advantage of it. Credit to him. Um, Braden was okay in this basketball game. Obviously he had 12 and 9, but not the best Braden game. Fletcher was okay, I thought too, was able to knock down some shots. A lot of those came early though, in my opinion. He kind of faded late, and I don't know. It was confusing watching this game because did it feel to you watching it that it was a little bit like energy, less energy? Like I know I'm using the wrong word, but like it just seemed to lack something in this game. And I don't know if it was because it was against USC or what it was, but I don't know. I just kind of expected Purdue to come out and handle business in this one, and that was not the case whatsoever. And I guess you give credit to USC for battling in this game. They had the lead for a good portion of this game, but they just weren't able to do enough to get across the finish line.
I have multiple thoughts here, my friend. You can tell me what you think on this. It was a game that was completely devoid of all rhythm. That's the number one
Yeah.
way I would describe it. It was a
Yep.
game that featured, I don't even think this is a crazy number, but 37 fouls in 40 minutes, 22 of those against USC, 15 of those against Purdue, some good, some bad. I don't know. For lack of a better way to describe it, feel like officiating is always a conversation with the way this Purdue team plays one way or another. Sometimes they get unfavorable whistles, sometimes they get favorable whistles. One thing you can definitely count on is the fact that their players will make the whistle a part of the game one way or the other because TKR can't avoid foul trouble. That's a thing. Every single game at this point is TKR is in foul trouble, whether he deserves it or not. He ends this game playing 29 minutes with 3 fouls and still spits out 30 points and 7 rebounds. It was a sensational game. I don't know. It was choppy, right? And coming off the heels of Illinois, Iowa, which was like as free flowing as you can get, you're treated to this extremely choppy late night basketball game that I think hurt everyone's eyes and maybe importantly hurt our hearts as Big Ten basketball fans. So I don't know. I'm not going to overreact to that portion of it. You're right. It was just a choppy, weird, unrhythmic basketball game. I have a different concern, though, that I want to get to, which we can come back to. Do you want to comment on the choppy nature or anything else on the general flow of this game first?
No, I feel like that's fair to put it. And I'm I've reached the point where I'm sick of talking about Big Ten refs and that whole conversation. So maybe somebody else will have the breakdown on that. I'm not even like being sarcastic about it. Like Ant Wright actually does a great job with like the foul edit things on Twitter. So like maybe he does something about that in this game and maybe some of the calls. It wouldn't I mean, honestly, the choppiness of the game too, a lot of the out of bounds calls are really weird in live time. And yeah, I'll just move on from the rest. But yeah, this was just a game that I thought kind of like you said, it was choppy, didn't really flow the best. You know, USC, a team that, when you look at metrically how they grade out, they're not a great rebounding team. They're an awful offensive rebounding team. And I believe they had like 16 offensive rebounds in this basketball game. So that's something that's always a concern when for the teams playing against Purdue because teams seem to have a lot of success on the offensive glass against them. And for the most part, given last night with USC, they took care of the ball except for like a 3 minute stretch where I'm sorry, Purdue was able to turn them over and turn that into points. But you know, yeah, if I put myself in my Boilermaker boots here, the fact that I was toe to toe and staring a loss in the face against USC, coming off a game where USC, all their starters played 50 minutes, and it took this to win the game. I get it, survive and advance, but I don't think you're getting the warm fuzzy feeling from this one.
Yeah. I thought USC was the better basketball team for like 25 minutes in this game. I thought there was nothing all that fluky about how USC built their lead. Des Claw was busting their ass.
Yeah,
That ain't fluky.
no.
What's fluky about that? Des Claude played 21 minutes in this game with 4 fouls. USC had Rayshawn Agee foul out. Wesley Yates had 4 fouls. Now they played almost the full game, so that didn't disrupt them from being on the floor. But like, if anyone's going to complain about foul trouble in this game, it should be USC, whose best player missed half the game with foul trouble and still spit out 18 very much no one can guard me buckets.
Yeah, can we talk about how he looked Miles Colvin dead in his eyes and said, "Go be an author"?
It was the most disrespectful in flavor of buckets, and I know it warmed your heart as much as mine. Can we toast to Des Claude for a
Hey,
moment? Because
listen,
not
listen. I
not
love.
not saying at the expense of Purdue, I just love watching that dude hoop.
Hey, he's a junior, isn't he?
Des Claude is a junior, correct?
Yeah, Mush, you got it. You get him back. And I will be coining him "Do Him Des" next year. Because that's really all he does. He looks across from him, and respectfully, he saw C.J. Cox way too little. He saw Fletcher Lawyer, a lawyer, and he saw Miles Colvin, an author. They can't do anything with him.
They can't. You're right. I've been workshopping. What if he started going by Desi? I feel like if he just changed his name to Desi Claude, everything would work out.
Well, we need to get in contact with his people.
Yeah, we can talk to Desi. Yeah, he was unstoppable. Now he had a couple chances late to clinch this game. He made the one big bucket to tie it late, but then had another chance basically to try and match and just didn't work out. Look, Dez is a great player. I know you talked him up a bunch this year. He has been a good stats or good player, bad teams guy. I never know what to do with those types of guys because I'll just say this in general. I think there's a lot of players that are quote unquote losing players that if you dropped them, let's say on this Purdue team as a third option, the narrative of their career would immediately change because they would be on a winning team and they would help and do good things. Like sometimes it's not your fault if you're a really good player that you're not in a winning situation. So I don't know what to do with Dez because I look at this USC team. He has this team playing above their level most nights. Wesley Yates is a star. He's going to be great down the line, but there's nobody else on this team that I think would really play on any other good team in the conference. They have no answers down low. They literally played tiny ball the whole game, not even small ball. I mean, the only big on this team is Josh Cohen. He played 9 minutes. So it kind of forced Purdue's hands. In that sense, it's not surprising TKR had 30 in 29 minutes because if you're going to guard TKR with 6'7" guys, this is
Yeah.
what TKR is going to do.
Yeah, that's exactly. Here's how I constitute a G. There's like stat patters, or not even stat patters, guys that are gonna get theirs, but they're not. It's losing basketball, right? Des Claude isn't a losing basketball player. He's actually really, really good. He's just in a really bad situation, truly. Like
Yeah.
I think if you remove Des Claude from this basketball team, I'm not exaggerating. I think this team wins like 4 games, single
Yeah.
digits for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay, can I get to my big, weird, I didn't expect this Purdue question?
Yes.
This was my pre-Big Ten tournament pick. I talked about it on Action Network, talked about it on Bet Rivers, talked about it on our podcast, on the Sleepers channel, anywhere that would listen to me. I screamed about how Purdue got the perfect draw. They got Michigan in the next round. Michigan's dead man walking. Purdue has the best player, best coach, best draw. They care about the Big Ten. They are going to make a statement. This is their tournament to lose.
hmm
That's been my MO for 5 days. You know, this is a pet peeve of mine. I've harped on you for it for years, my friend. I hate when teams struggle or teams lose or just you don't like how it looks and fans start pivoting into, well, why don't they want it? I've heard that a bazillion times and I call it out as being bullshit every single time because that is fan excuse behavior. Guess what? Every player that plays basketball wants it to some level. There are not players that go out on the floor and don't care or don't want to win. That's not how basketball works when you get to this level. That doesn't happen. So I hate when fans put everything on, we got to want it more. We don't have the effort. With that said, that's not what I'm going to accuse Purdue of in this game. I think their players wanted to win this game. But do they want to win this tournament? Because that's a very different thing. And my entire prediction that they would win this tournament was predicated on the fact that they would approach it like they want to win this tournament. The reality is, not every team does that. And I don't think Matt Painter did that in this game.
Mhm.
So, my question to you is, does Purdue want to win this tournament? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, I think they do. But if they play like that, they will lose the next game. Is that fair to say?
So, you think this was just poor play?
Yeah, I don't think Braden was all that good in this basketball game. I think Fletch did a lot of his work early. TKR was incredible. But I think a lot of the same things that, have hampered this Purdue team throughout the year were very evident in this basketball game. I mean, USC shot 53% from 2-point range. They got whatever they wanted. They obviously couldn't hit many three-pointers in this game, shot 30%, but they're effective on the offensive boards, had 16 of them, like I said. They scored at will at 2-point range in this game. And I think they tied or lost the rebounding battle by like one. So I mean, in a game like this, I just Purdue didn't play all that well. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Okay, here's why I think it's a question. Why did Will Berg check in very early into this game?
Was it because TKR was in foul trouble?
This is the Will Berg who has more DNP coaches' decisions this year than he has games played.
Mm,
It's the first game of your Big Ten tournament run, and 10 minutes into the game, Will Berg is on the floor in a game you were trailing in,
mm.
and you're telling me you want to win this tournament. Now, look, I am making a mountain of a molehill, right? Whatever that stupid phrase is.
I've never
Will
heard that
Berg,
in my life.
Will Berg played 1 minute in this game. So I understand what I'm doing right now. But like you look back to what Purdue did rotationally against USC the first time when they stomped them at Mackey Arena. Caleb First and CJ Cox played a combined 51 minutes. Neither one of those guys played much at all in this game. Caleb First played 18 minutes. And I understand USC goes small, but like in the first game, Purdue punished them for going small. First was really good. CJ Cox, I don't understand why he didn't play. Was it just he was bad? Like for the first time, really all year, Painter went like super into his bench. We saw
Hmm.
51 minutes from Heidi and Colvin. Now again, they did good things. Heidi nearly had a double double. Heidi hit 3 threes and gave you 9 and 11. Colvin hit 2 threes, 8 points, 5 rebounds. Those guys were playing well. So if this was just like ride the hot hand, then whatever. But I have not seen Painter go to his bench this much. And when you go to your bench that much, mixed in with the fact that, like, while this was still very much a game you were trailing in, you went to Will Berg early. That's not Painter's championship effort. That's Painter being like, well, we're going to play some guys. And sorry, I'll be blunt. You know, I've been blunt about this all season long, Purdue fans. But also, Purdue fans, if you're honest, if you made it to this point in the season, you're still listening to us. I think at this point, you would even admit, usually when we're critical or we're honest, it ends up having truth to it. A lot of the things we've said about this team this season, the roster that they've built, and the realities of the situation have ended up playing out pretty true. This team is not good enough to dick around with weird lineups and just say, we're going to play people. Not if you want to win the tournament. If you want to be in a dogfight with USC, sure. Great. We got Colvin and Heidi going a little bit. But that's not what I was expecting. I thought this team came here to win the tournament. I don't feel that I saw that from Painter. Not from the players, but from the way that Painter and the staff approached this game personnel-wise.
Okay, but outside of Wilberg checking in for a minute, Colvin and Heidi were playing better than the other guys, so they played the minutes.
You think that's all it was? Just the guys that played better got the minutes.
Yeah, I don't think CJ Cox was really doing much.
Okay. And if
That's
that's the answer, I got no issue with it. But I'm unsure that's the answer, is what I'm saying. Like I think Paint, even if those guys weren't playing better, was just gonna go to him because he
mm,
wants to go to his bench in this game and made the predetermined decision we're gonna go to the bench in this game. Now, the one big thing that argues against what I'm saying is that Braden still played 40 minutes. But at this point, I think the staff could tell Braden we're subbing you out, and Braden would be like, "Fuck you, no, you're not."
that's the biggest issue with this. You dicked around with USC, and now you had to play Braden Smith 40 minutes.
Right. He looked gassed again, by the way.
He does I don't under like in a game where everybody is playing. I don't know. Like I just it's if you are dicking around with this and you don't want to win this, then get him some rest.
You get the right guy rest.
Right. You
Like,
like I'm really glad that we made sure that the other players on this team are going to be good to go. What about our point guard?
right. I don't know what to make of it. So you say I should not be that concerned on this,
I'm concerned about Purdue's play.
not about anything else.
Yeah. Also, now I'm getting upset because like this would have been a good game to rest Braden.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like USC doesn't even play a point guard, really. You know what I'm saying? You could have gone with something different in this game and really not been. They don't force turnovers. You would have been fine.
Right.
It was a weird game.
It was a weird game.
It was weird.
But give him credit making the plays late to win the game.
Yeah, credit to all involved who made plays down the stretch. Yeah, they made. Can we talk about that TKR fadeaway? That's the worst shot I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, talk me through the final sequence. What'd you see?
Well, obviously, given the way the game was being played, how successful TKR was, I actually took a step back in the moment and I understood why Paint was going to him because TKR was either getting fouled, getting the calls. He had 11 free throw attempts in this game, or he was scoring the basketball. So I understand why you go to him. But at the same time, something in my heart of hearts tells me that when it's a tie game and maybe, TKR is not able to get to the spot that he wants to go, I don't know. I just feel like there's other like I always have trouble equating with the fact that Braid Smith's on the court and we're going to TKR when it's winning time.
Yeah, here's my scariest thing about Purdue's recent performance. I don't think TKR has necessarily changed. He's been playing great, but he's been great all season. But this was the first game in my life that I've watched Purdue and said to myself, TKR is the best player on the floor.
Hmm.
Now, some of that might be USC's defensive options against him, but some of it is the fact that right now Braden is not really a trustworthy scorer. He looks gassed.
Yeah, that's bad because luckily for Purdue, there was no one on the. I mean, outside obviously the rim protection is not there, but TKR gives up as much as he gets on the offensive end, and I'm gonna throw this theory out there. I got to work on it more. Theory could be completely off and ass. If TKR is looking like your best player, then you are in a dogfight with USC. Or if TKR is going to be your best player over a stretch, you are going to be losers of your last, what, 5 out of 7?
Yeah.
I think that correlates.
Yeah, I did too.
And maybe it's not fair because TKR was busting their ass in this game.
He was great. Yeah,
That
he was
fadeaway
great.
was ridiculous.
He was
That was
great.
one of the worst shots I've ever seen. Someone's got to ask about that. But outside of that, he was dominant.
Is this something that you think that they can just shake off and give an A+ performance tomorrow and you won't be surprised?
No, because this team is good. They're not like shake it off. We can just put this away and turn it on, turn it off.
Okay.
Which brings me back to this game, why it was so disappointing to me. I don't know like who this team thinks they are. You don't just show up.
Here's the one thing I would say. When you got a chance to slay Goliath, you better slay Goliath.
When you got a chance, who's Goliath?
When you got your damn slingshot out and his head is turned, you're in a tie game with 30 seconds left and you're Des Claude, you better hit that slingshot. That's all I'm saying. Because you're right. This team ain't playing great. This team hasn't played great in a month. This team's got some issues. This team looks fatigued. This team's got the Big Ten Player of the Year. This team's got the best post scorer in the league. And if you have a chance to slay them, you better slay them, is all I'm saying, Cart. Because you don't want to see this team all of a sudden in the championship game and Fletcher and Braden look up and realize, oh shit, they let us in the championship? In the state of Indiana? Let's do the thing where we just hit 11 threes.
Do they got that?
I still think they have that.
Okay. I'm
But
skeptical
someone
if
needs
this.
to
I'm
slay
skeptical
them
if this
before we
team
get
has
there.
turn. I'm skeptical if this team has turn it on ability.
I think they have turn it on ability, but someone could slay them. You just need to slay them.
Slay.
Slay. Good win, Purdue. USC, let's pour one out for them. Commemorate them as you have every other team in this league, please.
Just know that the must bus makes multiple stops. This wasn't the best ride, but the bus is coming.
Bus is coming. Muss, excited to see what you have in the future, my friend. Purdue, good win. Congratulations. Good Braden performance is coming. I promise you that.